Hello, Year 6. Welcome to Wednesday Science, and this is lesson 2 of our Healthy Bodies unit. Before we start, let's do some total recall. So, think back to Year 3. What is darkness? Year 4. Will the light turn on? Look at the diagram carefully. Year 5. Why do unsupported objects fall to the ground? And Year 6. What is classification? Pause the video, spend a few minutes having a really good think, and then check back in. Okay, so darkness is the absence of light. Will the light turn on? No. If you look carefully, we can see it's an incomplete circuit. It needs to be a complete circuit for the electricity to flow from battery to light. Why do unsupported objects fall to the ground? Because of gravity, the force of gravity. What is classification? Well, classification is grouping living things by looking at their similarities and differences. Good job. Okay, hopefully you've got your science books. If not, go and grab them. And can you please do today's short date, title, and Wilf? Okay, reading through the Wilfs then. Bronze, with support, explain what different food groups provide for us and match the given examples of food to a food group. Silver, to do that independently. Gold, the same as silver, but you're going to be thinking of your own examples rather than given examples. And if you're not quite sure what the Wilfs mean, it will all make sense when we come to the task. Today's focus, listening. Very, very important. We can all kind of be present and hear a voice going on, but are you actually tuning in? Are you listening to every instruction? That's what you need to be doing. Last week then, we looked at James Lind and scurvy in particular, and how that populations didn't always know how to keep themselves healthy. And one example was in the 18th century, where more British sailors died from scurvy than they did in battle. And we know that scurvy is caused by a lack of vitamin C in the diet. Sailors didn't have access to fresh fruit and vegetables, which contain many vitamins and minerals. James Lind conducted the world's first known clinical trial to investigate scurvy scientifically. You very much were scientists last week. And in his work, he discovered that it was particularly citrus fruits that could help combat scurvy. So we know that a balanced diet is very important, and part of that balanced diet is making sure we have enough vitamins and minerals. Today, though, I thought we'd start with a question. Do you know what these different food groups are and why they are important for our bodies? Pause the video and have a really good think. We've got protein, carbohydrate, minerals, fibre, and fat. Now, I'm going to take you through a slide at a time, explaining in detail what each of those food groups are and what they do. Now, I'm not going to read out the slide, so you need to pause on each slide and read it for yourself. If there's any vocabulary you're not sure with, perhaps you can ask somebody at home, or you can even check with an online dictionary, or even ask a teacher in the Teams group. I just think it would save a bit of time rather than listening to me read each slide. Plus, it's really good reading practice for you. So on every slide, pause it, read it, move to the next one. Let's go. Okay, so lots of information there, but lots of really important and interesting information that's going to make you more aware of the world around you. And that's what all science is about. Being curious, asking questions, and trying to find out the answer to those questions. So a quick recap. Sugars, starches, and fats all provide us with energy and are all important. However, you should mostly eat starches or carbohydrates to give you energy and small amounts of fats and sugar. And proteins are super important for growth. They help your organs and our body to maintain and repair themselves. Okay, quick quiz. Let's see how much you can remember from those slides. So, what foods could you put into each of these groups? Pause the video. You don't need to write this out. Just have a think about, right, what examples of carbohydrates are there? What examples of fats, etc.? Have a go at that now. Okay, so carbohydrates. You may have said things like pasta, rice, potatoes, bread, all really good sources of energy, carbohydrates. Fats, we've got nuts, fish, cake, ice cream or lollipops, cheese, just some examples. Proteins, we've got eggs, nuts again, ham or pork in this case. Meat's a really good source of proteins, but you do find protein in other food sources. Fish, cheese again. You'll see that some food examples don't just give one type, they can give all of them in some cases. Fibre, we've got cereals. Cereals are always fortified with fibre, so you have a healthy start to the day as long as they don't have too much sugar in. Pulses or beans, vegetables. In this case, we've got some lettuce or cabbage, but lots and lots of veg and fruit are really, really great source of fibre. And you know from reading that fibre is so important. We've got avocado here. We've also got potato. And then minerals. We know we can find minerals in a range of foods. So you can find out how much of the different nutrients, so carbohydrates, proteins, etc., are in different foods by looking at food labels. Now, you would have all seen food labels before, but perhaps maybe never read them or taken much notice, but they can be really interesting and they provide you with lots of information. On the next slide, we're going to look at 3 examples of food labels. Have a look at the amount of fat on the label, the amount of protein, the amount of energy, and try to see if you can match it to the correct picture. So we've got 3 food labels and 3 examples of food that they belong to: olive oil, crackers, tinned tomatoes. Try to think about what those foods give us, and that might help you match it to the correct food label. Pause the video, have a go at that, and I'll reveal the answers in a moment. Tinned tomatoes. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got that correct. Give yourself a pat on the back if you gave it a go. We've got the crackers and the olive oil. Now, you might see here it says energy. And all food gives us energy. Some foods give us more energy than others. We know that. We measure energy in kilocalories, or you would have heard calories, and that's what the KCAL or kcal stands for. So the tomatoes don't give us as much energy as the crackers, or nowhere near as much energy as the olive oil. However, if we were to look at the fat, look how much fat there is in olive oil. So again, we don't want to be using too much of that. If you get a chance, or from now on, whenever you go shopping with whoever's at home, take a look, see how much energy, see how healthy, see what's in the foods you are eating. Be aware of what you're putting in your bodies, because we know we have to keep ourselves healthy. Okay, let's get to today's task. So I'm going to show you the bronze sheet, the silver sheet, and the gold sheet. Once I've gone through all 3, think about the one that's going to challenge you without being too hard, but is also not going to be too easy, and you're just going to complete it really quickly. Okay, that's where you need to be really honest about your wealth. So let's take a look at the bronze work. Now, if you can print these sheets out, then print them out and just do it on the sheet. But if you can't print them, which many of you can, then do not worry. It just goes into your science book. All right. So bronze, here we've got the different types of food groups. And here we've got where you can find each food group or what they are useful for. Now, they're all jumbled up. So you need to match the food group to the correct definition. Okay, you can just write out the food group in order and then pick the definition that matches the food group. Once you've done that, see if you can identify which food group these foods would go into. So for example, wholemeal pasta Would that be a carbohydrate, a protein, fiber, etc.? Okay, that's bronze. Silver, similar, but instead of having the definitions to match to, I want you to recall your learning and write out a definition for each food group. And then the same as bronze, you're going to think about where these foods belong in terms of, again, olives. Are they the main source of carbohydrates, protein, fat, etc.? That's silver. Gold. You can draw this table in your book or present it however you would like, as long as it's neat. Here, I want you to, like silver, tell me the function, describe the job of a carbohydrate, protein, fiber, fat, and minerals. And I haven't given you any examples now, so I want you to find some examples or think of some examples from the lesson and add them to the food group. So that's bronze, silver, gold. If you didn't quite catch it, then pause, rewind, listen to it again. All right. Now, when you finish whatever Wilf it is you have finished, there is a task for all of you to do. So pause the video, have a go at whatever Wilf it is you are going for, and then come back to the video once you have done it, because there is a final task. Off you go. Your final task then. So when you have finished, can you now create examples of healthy, balanced meals? You could draw this, label it, colour it. You could do it on a plate, like an Eat Well plate. You can write it out as a menu. Perhaps there's something you've been cooking at home with your families. Or even describe it as a recipe. And you can do as many as you want. But remember, think about your learning, and it needs to be healthy and balanced. And don't forget to send your teachers a picture of your work, particularly your final task. Now, have a go at that and then come back for the plenary. Okay, so well done for all your hard work. To finish, which of these foods do you think is the healthiest and why? Now, we can see they're biscuits and crisps, so not necessarily particularly healthy, but as part of a balanced diet, they can be eaten in small amounts. However, even within the kind of unhealthy section of food, some foods are healthier than others. Take a look at the food label and you decide for yourself what's the healthier option. Well done for today's lesson. Great learning again. And I think what's really important from science, from any subject, is that you apply the knowledge you have learned to your life. So going forward, when you go to, it might be a restaurant, it's at home, it's going to the shop, what's going to be best for you and your body and being healthy now as you grow up. Take care.